So we need to have, guys, a growth mindset, not a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset is really the opposite of growth mindset. Let me show you a couple differences here as we go through this between a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset, if you think about it, it's unwilling to move, to change, to experience, to risk, all these things. I'm going to show you several of these things, but a growth mindset is entirely different. It's different in the way that it looks at life. It's different in the way that it moves forward in life and how it faces different things in life. It's about our mindset. Our mindset is so critical, guys, and it's so important that we have a healthy perspective and a healthy mind. So God hasn't given us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. We have great minds that we have in Christ. Listen to this. Now, a growth mindset is one who views challenges as opportunities. Now, I want you to see the stark contrast here. A fixed mindset avoids challenges for the way in which they look at it. Like they see them as obstacles of things they are not able to do, like a stop sign. No, it's not a stop sign. It's just how are we going to figure out how we turn this obstacle into an opportunity to get me to my goal. So a growth mindset and a fixed mindset look at obstacles in two different ways. One, it holds them and keeps them from moving forward. The other one figures out how they either get around it, go over it, or use it to get them to a forward goal that they have in their life. They view them entirely different. It's kind of like the get to, got to mentality, right? So a get to mindset would be a growth mindset. A got to mindset, that's a fixed mindset, right? And so a growth mindset embraces change because we know that living things grow, develop, and they change. Change is essential in our lives, and it is going to happen. And so someone with a growth mindset isn't going to resist the change. Here's what you find in churches. I've been pastoring a long time. What I find in churches is you have a percentage or even a large percentage in some churches with minds with fixed mindsets, and then you have some who have a growth mindset. And oftentimes the reason churches die is because the fixed mindset people will not give, and they have more in number and more in their whole concept of pushback and everything. And a church that needs to move forward, because we're not to sit still, we're to be advancing the kingdom, moving forward. Change is part of that. You have a certain culture within churches where if they're real resistant to change, I call them mule churches, because mules are hybrids. They cannot reproduce. And these churches become what? Dead over time. They will die because they what? Reject and resist change. And you see that within people as well. And so we want to have a mindset about change that we embrace it, we expect it, and we actually, in a sense, are excited about it because of what the opportunities it might afford us in this journey. So change is not always bad. It's not bad. And so it's important to have that kind of mindset. The fixed mindset on change, they avoid it and they resist it because they want to have control, right? It's all about control. It's about control. A growth mindset views problems as opportunities. And we know there's all kinds of problems we face. That's one of the things about management or management of people or whatever you're doing. It's constantly, even parenting, right? And even in marriage, we're having problems and we need to bring solutions. And it's all about understanding the problem and bringing the solution to the problem. That's what we do. We fix things right that way. And so you have people, though, with fixed mindsets, and they view the problem as an obstacle. right? It's a negative thing, not a positive thing. Now, although the obstacle or the problem could be negative, their view of it's negative, and the way they go about addressing it is negative. With a growth mindset, it may be a negative obstacle, but we have a positive outlook on the way in which we address whatever issue or problem it is, because we know we're going to bring a resolution to that problem. And it's exciting for us to see that happen. A growth mindset creates movement. We're moving forward with this mindset. We can't stand things to be stagnant or still or complacent. The desire of us with a growth mindset is to be advancing, moving forward, growing, challenge, stretching, developing, enlarging. We're moving. It's nothing worse than stagnation. I love the difference in the mountains when you find like just a stream that's flowing. That water is so different. And then you come along a spot where there's just been water that's been gathered there in some rock or something that's got a hole, and that water is stale and stagnant and nasty. It's not worth drinking, man. And we want to be of those who think differently about this, bringing movement. And I have a lot of people that I hear this a lot, especially when we ask for prayer. You're going to hear this a lot from people. It's like, would you pray that God shows me what I should be doing moving forward? Now, if you're still praying that prayer a year from now, you're the problem, okay? We do need to pray for God for direction, for discernment and wisdom. We have His Word. We need to apply the Word. But you know what I also know in life? You can't direct a ship that's setting still, that's anchored to a dock. No, the ship needs to be moving in a direction in order for you to actually steer the vessel. And a lot of people want to just sit comfortably at the excuse of prayer and say, I'm waiting on God. And all they're doing is they're using God as a crutch and an excuse for them to stay in safety and do nothing with their life moving forward. Well, I just can't because God's not going to write it in the sky. He's not. If that's what you're looking for, you're wasting your time. God has given you His Word. God has given you wisdom. God has given you people. God has given you opportunity. Get up and get moving forward and say, Lord, if this is not your will for my life, I trust that you will bring about a change to the direction in which I'm going. Okay? God knows your heart. And so I've seen people stay there, and you'll say, well, let's take prayer request. A year later, well, I'm stuck at this spot, I don't know, I'm at a crossroad here. Well, dude, you've been at that crossroad for months. It's time to get your butt moving. And it's just the cop-out. Well, just not clear. God hasn't made it clear. You're not hearing. You've already been given all that you need to move forward. Move forward and say, God, direct this vessel. Open, shut, turn, whatever. I'm going to move forward in faith, trusting you, God. You know my heart. Allow God to have that way in your life, but use your brain, man. Get moving forward. And don't use that as a crutch to stay where you are because you're fearful of the unknown, okay? And here's another one. A growth mindset receives constructive critique, with humility. Here's the reason that someone with a growth mindset can receive a critique that is constructive with humility, because they're always seeking to grow and develop personally. So that's why it's good to have people in our lives that give us an honest critique or a rebuttal of how we're doing something. And these people are usually asking, hey, have you seen an area that I can improve in? Why would they ask that? Well, they're asking that. Why? Because they want to get better and they want to improve. And then you have others with a fixed mindset, and they are very easily offended when critiqued by others. They take it as a slam or a put down or a somehow marring their character or whatever it might be. No, listen to other people, especially those whose opinions you trust and believe in, and those people in your life. Now, if they're a fringe individual out there and they're just being an idiot, no, I'm not listening to that. But for someone that I personally know, that knows me, that I trust and know that they're going to be honest in their assessment of my life, hey, it's an open door. Hey, what can I do to improve myself in this area, right? And if you need that to grow and to develop. So that's why we ask our wives, hey, can you see an area in my life that I might be blinded to that I could develop even better in? Or am I viewing that as an obstacle or as an opportunity, and use that as a way to grow, right? So there's always room for growth, guys. That's what we're trying to do. A growth mindset views failures, which we're all going to have failures in life. If you're doing anything, you're going to fail at something, just the way it is. But you got to think about the way in which you view not reaching a goal or failing or falling short of whatever it is. Listen to what this is. A growth mindset will view failures as opportunities to learn and grow, and then continue to move forward with that new information. In other words, they don't just stop. It doesn't just completely just take all the air out of their bag. It doesn't just knock them down and they're out and they're no longer to be seen. No. They learn from failure, because everyone fails. What do you do with it, though? What you do with it, though, is what really matters. And what I mean by that is you can take that's knowledge is what that is. You use that knowledge now as what? Strength to help you move forward. Don't stop. Take that, gather it up, write it down. Thank you. I learned something about this. And now I'm going to move forward with that new information so I can move forward in achieving whatever goal that is. But people who fail, that have a fixed mindset, they are seen in a negative light, and oftentimes they are defeated and they end up quitting when they face failures. It's just the way their mindset is. Okay? It deflates them. It just ends the game. It doesn't need to, man. So you got to change your mindset. Growth mindset, they take risks knowing the reward of what will be learned and achieved along the way. Here's one of the great things about taking risks. It's not only the value of achieving, but here's the difference. It's about the process. It's about the journey. It's like learning through the process. For example, when we just summited Pikes Peak, I was so intrigued with the route that they would take us. In other words, when I would stand there and I'd look way up at the summit of Pikes Peak, I would just, in my mind, I was so intrigued by it. I wanted to know, are they going to take us straight up that rock face? Are they going to actually make a trail that switchbacks across that rock face? Are they really going to take us over that? You know where that deep snow is and all that? So in my mind, I'm like, and then it's just about the journey getting there. And it's like, guess what? You're just like, I can't believe this, man. Yeah, the journey was tough. It was hard. It was all those things. But it's what you're learning along the journey that makes this thing so great. It's not just arriving at the destination, which is a wonderful thing to achieve, but what did you learn in the process of achieving whatever goal you set? Did you learn something about yourself? Did you grow? Did you develop? You know, those are things that have value, man. Because let's face it, you can't do much with a medal, okay? Yeah, you can hang it around your neck for the day or for the picture, but it goes to your house and it hangs on your shelf or whatever. But what you take with you from that is what helps you live life. That medal's not going to help you live life at all. But it's those things of character, integrity, and hard work and pushing yourself to limits you've never pushed yourself, to find something on yourself that you didn't know was there, a strength that you had, the ability to lean on the Lord in ways you never have, whatever the situation is. And so it's a different way of looking at all of this. Now, a fixed mindset, it likes to play it safe, right? It doesn't want to go out on a limb. And therefore, it lives a very boring and dull life in the safety of Neverland. That's the reality. You know, you hear these men all the time. They get this I call it little man syndrome or whatever. And they want to talk. You always hear them. They're 50 years old, and what are they talking about? Man, when I was in high school, dude, I set the record. I was the baddest running back, or they talk about their high school days, but you don't hear anything about what they're doing now. You don't hear anything about the last 25 years. So we want to be men who at the end of our lives and during our lives, at any given moment, could sit down with a group of people and share with them incredible stories about what we're learning in life. What did God teach me through this? What did I learn about myself through this? Oh yeah, I did that. I know that sounds crazy, but I did that. Or I want to be that guy, right? I want to be that way in my marriage, with my raising kids and my business and ministry and just personal life. Yeah, I want to be involved in all of that, right? I know you do too. So, a growth mindset views hard things as opportunities to develop, grow, and learn as an individual. In fact, that person with a growth mindset even seeks out hard things to do. A fixed mindset, hard things threaten their self-worth and ego. In other words, the thought of not achieving something is so over the board that it could affect their ego or their self-esteem, that they're not even taking a chance, buddy. So they're just going to kind of stay back, right? They're not going to do the hard things. And that's not good. A growth mindset focuses on and enjoys the process and the journey to achieving their goals. Also the process of our sanctification, this journey that we're on in our walk with Christ. Enjoy the journey, man. Enjoy it. You're learning, you're growing. God is stretching you. He's growing you. He's developing you. He's giving you things that you're going to need as your faith is tested and you persevere, and your faith, which is more valuable than gold. You'll be like Paul at the end. I've kept the faith. I've finished the race. I've done this thing, man. I fought the good fight. That's what we want. That's what we're looking for. Now, a fixed mindset, goals simply are a purpose of an end game that is focused on outcome, not the process or the journey. So it's about proving yourself, or not that you don't try to prove yourself in other means, but the journey of it's not that big a deal. Like for me, in right now, just the beginning stages of my marathon training, I got 15 weeks to the marathon. And so I begin my training at week 15, what I would call like focus training now. For me, I don't want to just think about the marathon, right? I want to enjoy the journey there. All the workouts, all the nutrition, just the suck of it, all of this stuff. I'm so looking forward to the journey of going to the marathon that I'm more excited about the journey than I am the marathon. The marathon is one day. It is a handful of hours, but I'm going to spend 15 weeks preparing for a one-day event. The one-day event is not going to change my life. The 15 weeks going up to the one day, that is the stuff that brings change, development, and growth in my life. That's why it's exciting to me. Now, as God's men living God's way for God's glory, we need to understand that we are to be constantly growing, developing, and maturing. Gray hair doesn't mean you stop. All right, I'm getting some gray hair. You can see I got quite a bit right here in my beard. I'm getting some gray hair, but this is not the end, man. This is not where I stop. This is where I push the throttle down. And I see a lot of men who have gray hair like they've somehow entered into like a rite of passage with gray hair, that you just sit on your butt and you do nothing. You don't grow. You don't mature. You just stay where you are. You're stagnant. You're just waiting until you kill over, man. That's the horrible mindset. That's a fixed mindset. You must have a growth mindset no matter how old you are, whether you're 20 or whether you're 80. You need to continue to grow and mature and develop.